Hi everyone, we're going to talk about fire safety. We are a hot shop, and being a hot shop, meaning we work with glass, molten glass, and fire, we often have fires in the classroom. And so we want to make sure that we're discussing how to take care of an uncontrolled fire, because we deal with fire on a regular basis, but an uncontrolled fire would be different. So if you find that we have an uncontrolled fire, there's a couple of things we want to do right away. And the first one is we actually want to, even though it sounds simple, we want to scream fire. We want to notify everybody else in the class that we have an issue and that there is an uncontrolled fire in the classroom. When that happens, I would ask that one person steps out and then starts to call on their cell phone 911. And the reason that we want to do it on a cell phone outside of the building or as you're exiting the building is because you do not want to have to hang up on 911 in order to get yourself out of an unsafe situation. So you would start to step out and call along the way. And if you tell them to come to the front of the school, Battleground School, high school, they're going to know right where we're at and that we're right across from Burgerville. We will also have you go meet the fire department, and you'll wave them in so they know exactly where we are going, or where they are going, excuse me. And so that would be one of the things we want to do. So that's 1 and 2. The other thing is on the way out of the building, we actually need to pull the fire alarm. And the reason we need to pull the fire alarm is because we often have fires in class, controlled fires in class. This particular classroom does not have a smoke detector because we'd be setting it off on a regular basis. And so since we don't have a smoke detector, the only way to notify the rest of the school that there is an emergency in our classroom is by pulling the fire alarm. So as we're exiting, we would pull the fire alarm. And there's a fire pole. There's one at the front of the classroom where you generally enter, and then this is the back of the classroom where you would be able to exit as well. So you could pull either one and it's still going to do the job. The other thing that we would do is we would want to, if safety allows, we would try and put out the fire. And so we would grab the fire extinguisher off the wall. There are actually 3 of them in the classroom. There's one next to every single door in the classroom. And we would pull the fire alarm off the wall. And the first thing that we would do when we'd pull it off the wall is we need to remove this little clip right here. So you'd pull the pin, and now that you have pulled the pin, you are going to aim it, and you're going to make sure that you're aiming low down on the fire, at the base of the fire. And then you are going to squeeze the handle, so this handle right here, and you would squeeze that handle, and then you're going to sweep back and forth. Now, the acronym that they use in order to help people remember that is PASS. So pull the pin, and then aim and squeeze, and then sweeping across it. So that is how you would put out the fire. Now, because we have 3 of them, we actually want 3 individuals working on an uncontrolled fire at the same time. We would rather have the fire department show up and find out that we actually put out the fire versus not trying to put it out at all. But again, that's only if safety allows. Now, the other part of fire safety is people. So if a person in this process of an uncontrolled fire were to catch on fire, you need to know that a couple of things that happen is, for whatever reason, a person will either run away from everybody and they're trying to get really away from the fire, or they will run at somebody and try and grab them. And what they're really doing is they're trying to get help. So you want to make sure that somebody that is running towards you doesn't actually get their hands on you if they're on fire. Because what we don't want is them on fire and now you on fire and it just snowballs from there. And so you're going to try and prevent them from getting a hold of you. You can put a chair in front of you, or hold up a blanket or a jacket. You can even try and put them out by hitting the jacket on them. And then the person that is actually on fire, what we really want is we want them not to run, because they're actually flaming the flames. And so we want to get them to stop, and we want to think of that same like terminology that we used when you guys were kids, and it would be stop, drop, and roll. So you want to stop the person that is on fire. You want them to get onto the ground, and you want to roll in order to put the fire out. If they can't do that on their own, you want to figure out a way, if you can, to get them to the ground. So sometimes, sometimes tripping them, it might be your only choice, but you want to get them on the ground, and then you can take a jacket and you can start kind of hitting them and trying to put out the fire. But you want to make sure that you are still at a safe enough distance that you don't become a secondary casualty. Now, along with all of this, I do want to make sure that you fully understand that if you are forced to call 911, that you have the right, I think the responsibility to call 911 if you see a situation that is so unsafe that you know we cannot handle it at the school ourselves. If you choose to call 911 because of an incident that you truly believe is bad enough to require extra outside assistance, I will make sure I support you in every way possible, because you're an adult and you understand what a true emergency looks like. And trying to get somebody here, we'd rather apologize and then say we thought it was one thing versus another than not have somebody here on site in order to take care of somebody that was truly injured. So make sure that you are doing the right thing. Make sure that you're calling 911 if it's necessary. You are letting everybody in the classroom know that there is an emergency if it is a fire, and that you are pulling the fire alarm to alert everybody else in the school that there is an issue if that is the case. And then we want to try and put out the fire if we can. Thank you.